Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Prayer to the Most High blesses this lesson this afternoon. Gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of things that are soon to come on the earth. Now, we've been talking about how there was no proof of the Israelites being in Egypt over there, no proof of them being wandering for 40 years, no proof of them going in and attacking Jericho and then liberating the Holy Land over there. Now, we're going to take it a step further and show you how there's absolutely no proof also, or very little, well, I'm going to let the book say it, proof of Abraham and the patriarchs actually being over there in the so-called Middle East also. So as you can see, I'm going to keep bringing more information out, because as more information and more proof comes out to question the facts that we've been taught, that leaves in our opponent's ball, in their sphere of influence, for them to actually start to prove these things wrong. But you know that if they're silent, it's because they don't have anything. So we know that, right? We're letting it even the ball in their court to bring the proof, to bring the receipts, to show that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were over in Mesopotamia, for them to prove it. Because there's plenty of books that show that that's not true. And see, the churches and all the media and the movies and everything else have taught us that everything happened over there. And that's what they've just ingrained in our minds the entire time. The way they show it, in a desert climate right over there, and that's where everything happened, in this small little area, and that the Most High only gave his children a little itty bitty tiny little strip of land over there, and left it the rest of the world for everybody else to just go ahead and take the choice lands, even though in the scriptures it says otherwise. So we're going to take a look at this one real quick. Again, we're going to get into the medieval empire of the Israelites. And we're going to go right here, okay? We're going to read a little bit about how there's very little to no proof of many of these things, these biblical accounts happening over there. The Scaligerrian history ascribes the activity of the biblical patriarchs to modern Mesopotamia and Syria. However, archaeology says the following as regards the personality of the patriarch Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob themselves. Then one can only repeat that the results, of the digs in Syria and Mesopotamia have given the poorest results about them. To put it simply, nothing. So they haven't been finding anything to prove that they were over there. So it is appropriate to ask, is it correct to search for traces of the patriarchs in modern Mesopotamia? So since they're not finding anything, maybe they should be searching somewhere else. Maybe they shouldn't be searching over there. Now, if you look at biblical, prophecy as well, you see they've been steady trying to force us to look over there to show that the Bible is being fulfilled. All of a sudden, you're starting to hear about Iran and getting attacked, and Damascus, and I've always looked over there because that's what we were taught, right? But then it's kind of funny how there's all these attacks all the time, but nothing ever happened. Israel was always attacking, one of these countries, or shooting people, or America was shooting over there at Russia, but then nothing ever happens. And it's like we're kind of late in the game with prophecy for nothing to be happening. So that's why if the beginning doesn't fit over there and the so-called Middle East, then the end days are not going to fit over there either. So that's why the Bible doesn't make any sense. That's why, when you got the prophecies of losing their heritage and getting it back, getting their heritage back at the end, that's not happening over there. Those people, Ish knows who they are. Ish, has been claiming that they've known who they are the entire time. You see, in the Bible, it actually talks about these people losing their heritage, losing who they are. So if, like I said, if our forefathers were not there, then, the end days prophecies are not going to be fulfilled over there. As much as they're trying to push it, it's not going to fit. Okay. So see, Werner Keller thinks that Egypt will remain indebted to researchers. Not only have they not found anything about Joseph, but they have not discovered either documents or monuments of his time. Now that's huge because they always love to talk about, how that whole story played out right over there. But and I'm showing you right here, they haven't found anything about Joseph. Okay, but they have not discovered either documents or monuments of his time. So when you're getting all these stories about the story of Joseph and everything going on over there, and Abraham and Sarah going and sojourning over there in Egypt over there, there's nothing to prove it. Okay. It says the biblical scholar and historian Martin Noth maintains directly that there are no grounds to attribute the demolished settlements being discovered by archaeologists in modern Palestine to an Israeli conquest of the promised land. So they got nothing. Again, this guy right here, Martin Noth, maintains, and they just can't say, oh well, we're not going to accept his ideas or whatever else. He's got a theory just like the rest of you guys have theories. But your guys' theories aren't making any sense. So again, the biblical scholar and historian Martin Noth maintains directly that there is no grounds to attribute the demolished settlements being discovered by archaeologists in modern Palestine to an Israeli conquest of the promised land. So there's no proof of an Israeli conquest occurring over there in the promised land. I know we're kind of beating this in, but that's very important because that's how they've gotten us to look towards white Jesus, because they made him look white. They made him say that this was the land over there. They made us disconnect from our heritage. They made it seem like we need to look up to them so they can teach us everything. But now the Most High is bringing this information out so we can realize that they have no connection to our scriptures. Just like it talks about Psalms 147, how these scriptures were given to the Most High's chosen people. These are our scriptures, and we're the only ones that are in the position that is given the Holy Spirit to understand them and to teach them. So that's why it's very important that we break away from their so-called Middle East doctrine and start to see that doesn't make any sense. And even in the Hebrew community, you still hear people talking about how, over there in the Middle East is like our land. That's what we're going back to. We're going back to that little itty bitty strip of land, and we're going to leave this beautiful choice land right here. When the Most High said it, he didn't say that he's just going to have to burn everything. That's how you're going to have to cleanse the lands. He already told you how we're going to cleanse the lands, how the Most High is going to cleanse the lands. That's part of his covenant, how he's going to cleanse the land. Numbers 35 and 33. Okay? So let's continue. Things stand no better with the traditional localization of the New Testament events near modern Jerusalem. There are no archaeological confirmations of the dating of the New Testament. Okay, this is explained by the fact that supposedly in 66 to 73 AD, Jerusalem and Palestine was destroyed totally, and it was forbidden for the Judeans to go near it. It is thought that afterwards the settlement of El Quds, the local name, arose here, which also is called Aela Capitolonia, Lina. And only afterwards, over time, did ancient Jerusalem reappear here gradually. Archaeologists are at a loss. The historic remains of biblical times, such as the Wailing Wall, do not have any archaeological or historical confirmations. So, like I said, everything that they've set up has no confirmations, no historical confirmations, no archaeological confirmations. We just got to take their word for it. Now, if you look at today and you look at how things are going in the news, are you going to take these people's words for absolutely anything? When they'll tell a bold-faced lie right to your face about something that's happening right now. But we're supposed to believe then that when they tell us about things that happened here 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, that we're supposed to take their word for that as well. I'm going to take the words of the Most High. That he said we're not going to know our lands, our names, our heritage, anything, at the end of the end days. And that's exactly what's going on right now. Because like I said, the wool has been pulled over our eyes for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's not just simple things about just knowing who you are. They've hidden everything, where everything originated from. And now should all be making so much sense. The things that were happened here, Didn't happen over there, but they had to try their best to make it seem as if, give their land over there some more clout, so that we would, be, wanting to would have like an urge to go back to their lands and leave our choice lands here for them. But that's not going to happen, and the Most High is bringing more knowledge and understanding. So the people who still keep talking about the so-called Middle East, prove your point, prove your cause, make a video, show this proof of all these things happen over there, besides the fact that they told you so. I've had people make videos saying that Egypt is the anchor. Well, prove that Joseph was there in that Egypt right there, the Egypt that they tell you over there in the so-called Middle East. Because these guys have been over there digging, and they're showing you and they're telling you that there is no proof that any of these events happened over there. So if they did not happen over there and there's no proof, then the next logical conclusion is they happened somewhere else. And then you start to backtrack and look at what makes sense. Look where the choice lands are in the world. Look when did they start to get their information and their understanding? When they came over here. They said they burned all the records, but we know that's not true. They kept the records for themselves. They took the technology for themselves. They put the little remix on it again, like usual, and then made it seem like they did it. But now the Most High is giving clarity and knowledge and understanding. All praise is to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.